stubborn homeowners who simply refuse to budge. House on a highway. It's one thing to live in a deserted location, but what about in the middle of a 4-lane highway? This is a case from China, where 3 families are said to have joined arms and steadfastly refused to allow any of the bulldozers to enter their property in order to demolish it. Surprisingly, the government finally gave in and constructed the gigantic roadway that encircles the structure where these families were housed. The government may have even believed that the owners would be persuaded to sell by the commotion and noise. But they undoubtedly misjudged these families' tenacity. Edith Macefield's Up House. Several real estate holdouts have been held to a higher standard as a result of this house's popularity in Seattle. Edith Macefield's former residence just so happened to be blocking the progress of commercial construction. Edith, 84, had different hopes for her century-old home. Her refusal of the $1 million offer, which was significantly higher than the property's actual value, quickly earned her the title of hero. Eventually, the 5-story building was constructed all the way around her home. Even more intriguing is that Edith struck up a friendship with the construction foreman when he got to know her. He eventually became Edith's primary carer, and when she passed away 2 years later, she left him the house. Some even believe that this house inspired the film Up. Because of the similarities, Disney's marketing team tied several helium balloons to the roof to promote the film. The dream of a pizza pie in the sky. The opening of the Washington Convention Center in 2003 caused neighboring property values to skyrocket. This was fantastic news for Austin Spriggs and his wife. They had paid around $135,000 for their 2-story brick house nearly 30 years before. However, the convention center changed everything, and developers began buying up every available property. Austin Spriggs and his house stood tall. Spriggs was eventually offered $1.5 million, but he countered with a staggering $10 million demand. Then he was offered $3 million. Spriggs made the decision to create a pizzeria in order to build his money in a moral manner. After 4 years, the lone house was suddenly encircled by enormous structures. Sadly, the pizzeria never materialized, and Spriggs ultimately made the decision to list the house for sale for the $1.5 million he had initially been given. But no one was interested in buying it until some developers decided to buy it out of foreclosure for less than $1 million and sell it for nearly $4 million. Instead of a pizzeria, the home is now a restaurant. A house that could have been Trump's parking lot. Vera Koking can undoubtedly take pride in the fact that she defeated the president by staying the course. Back then, Donald Trump's primary concern was still his real estate empire, and only The Simpsons could have projected him to be sitting in the White House today. Trump wanted to develop a new casino in Atlantic City, but before he could do that, he had to demolish Vera's boarding house, which had been on the property since the 1960s. Bob Guccione's repeated attempts to erect a penthouse casino there had already been thwarted by her. Vera refused Bob's $1 million offer back in the 1970s, and she had no intention of doing the same for Trump. The city even attempted to utilize the eminent domain power against Vera, but given that she had defeated both Bob and Trump, what authority could the city possibly have over her? Vera Koking also engaged in battle with the city and prevailed. Trump couldn't get rid of the woman, so he centered his casino around her. Before moving across the country to be nearer to her family in 2010, Vera resided here. She then handed the house to her daughter. The property was listed for $5 million by her daughter. It remained on the market 2 years later. It was finally auctioned off in 2014, and 4 months later, it was destroyed.